Roar! The snake demon that had been silent all this while finally flew into a rage. It opened its hateful and murderous eyes and stared fixedly at Su Jingxing. The corrosive power of the corpse-dissolving liquid did not cause any damage to the snake demon. It did not lose a single scale. But this was extremely insulting. It had to get back at him. The corpse-dissolving liquid that swept through its body suddenly trembled and evaporated. Swoosh! The lower half of the snake demon's body remained where it was. Its upper body, especially its neck, suddenly extended rapidly, bringing its head toward Su Jingxing at lightning speed. Buzz! Su Jingxing's body emitted a golden-red glow. He circulated the vast ocean's spiritual essence and wrapped it around his hands. Facing the snake demon's head that was pouncing over, he threw a punch from the side onto the snake demon's cheek. Its entire head and extended neck smashed into the ground, stirring up dust. Swoosh! Take your life while you're down. Su Jingxing landed quickly and landed more punches on the snake demon's head. Bam! 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 The snake demon, who had just came back to its senses, was beaten into the ground again. Its head was spinning. The lower half of his body that was left under the demon soul fruit tree in the center had no choice but to move over and surround Su Jingxing. Su Jingxing was already prepared. The moment he saw this scene, he stopped punching and soared into the air, crossing space into the distance. Roar! The snake demon, who had been humiliated, naturally wouldn't let him off so easily. Its huge body struck the ground in the opposite direction and also soared into the air, flying swiftly. In a few moments, it caught up to Su Jingxing. Roar! A deafening roar reverberated through the air. Invisible sound waves stringed together and wrapped around Su Jingxing like lightning to stop him in midair. At the same time, the snake demon opened its mouth to the widest. A strange force immediately spread and locked onto Su Jingxing. It's coming! Su Jingxing, who was prepared, felt his body lighten. It was as if a rope had tied him up tightly. Then, he suddenly pulled from behind. Whoosh! Su Jingxing was pushed backward by a strange force and entered the snake demon's opened mouth. The process went very smoothly. However, when he entered the snake mouth and passed through its throat, Su Jingxing used the demonic elephant physique again with a whoosh. He expanded and turned into a 4-meter-tall giant. He tore open the snake demon's throat, ripping apart its scales and skin as well. When the images connected together, it was as if a giant had suddenly emerged from the mouth of the snake demon. This giant broke out of the mouth and separated the snake demon's head from its lower body without any warning. Then, Su Jingxing, who had transformed into a giant, grabbed the head and flew into the sky at high speed. During the flight, he retracted the demonic elephant physique, took out a jar of strength pills, and poured the pills into his mouth. The snake demon's head in his hand removed unmoved, as if it had frozen. There was no sound. However, in reality, the snake demon's head was in a sleeping state. This was what he saw through the bone demon's memories, the snake demon's weakness. Once the head and body were separated with a great distance put between them, the snake demon would fall into a deep sleep. However, when sleeping, the snake demon's head and body would automatically attract each other and merge back together. This was one of the innate abilities of the snake demon. The snake demon had two abilities, one was devouring. Su Jingxing had already experienced it earlier. The second was to reconstruct its body. As for completely killing the snake demon, it wasn't impossible. If Su Jingxing went all out, mobilized 300 years of cultivation of vast ocean spiritual essence and bombard the snake demon's head for half an hour, he could indeed turn the snake demon's head into dregs and burn it. With ordinary attacks, even if he were to use fire, the snake demon's head and body would not die immediately. But that would be tiring and exhausting. After Su Jingxing learned about this characteristic of the snake demon, he had a better solution. He headed straight for the door of darkness with the snake demon's head. Behind him, the snake demon's body automatically followed under the guidance of an invisible force. However, when he arrived at the door of darkness, Su Jingxing put the snake demon's head into his palm space. His physical body passed through the door of darkness and returned to the underground space at the bottom of the demon's den. When he saw the blood doppelganger, he took out the snake demon's head and handed it to it. His main body then returned to the little demon world. He encountered the snake demon's body chasing after him and crashing into the door of darkness, yet it could not pass through no matter what. The body suddenly trembled violently. A door of darkness. Its head was on the other side, and its body was on this side. But they could not touch each other no matter what. How could it reconstruct? How could they be put back together? How could the snake demon be revived and awakened? Therefore, Su Jingxing grinned secretly as he watched the snake demon's body stick to the door of darkness, writhing and colliding madly. A group of half-demons and demon slaves who had gathered beside the door of darkness were dumbfounded by this sight. The snake demon's body that had lost its head. What was going on? No demon could give an answer. Instead, as they feared the crazy crashing and twisting of the snake demon's body, these half-demons and demon slaves quickly fled in all directions without saying a word. Su Jingxing didn't stay to watch either. The snake demon's body could not pass through the door of darkness. Its head that was on the other side, would be slowly crushed, torn, and turned into dregs by the blood doppelganger. Speaking of which, Su Jingxing was also taking a gamble when he thought of this method to kill the snake demon. That is, if he put the snake demon's head into his palm space and passed through the door of darkness, would he be prevented from passing through as well? But in the end, he won the gamble. The power of the storage space was not affected by the door of darkness. Without the snake demon as a threat, he would slowly take care of it. Of the three ancient demons, only the sword demon remained. In his invisible state, Su Jingxing immediately rushed to the third true demon mountain to find the sword demon. The appearance of the sword demon resembled black armor in the movie, a writer's odyssey that Su Jingxing had watched on Earth. The strange killer with only one eye and arms like blades. However, compared to black armor, the sword demon was bigger, more than 10 meters tall. It had no limbs. Its entire body was like a shiny black blackboard filled with wrinkles, and sharp blades grew out all around it. When it was motionless, all the sharp blades would shrink together and stick into the ground like a large shutter. When it moved, the sharp blades opened and the blackboard would be propped up, turning into a killing machine. Sharp blades danced in the air, and the blackboard spiraled. Everywhere it passed, blood and wind filled the air, and broken limbs scattered everywhere. Most importantly, it did not have eyes, mouth, nose, or other organs. The wrinkled blackboard was its eyes, mouth, and nose. Through this blackboard, the sword demon could sense everything around it. After Su Jingxing arrived, the sword demon reacted immediately. Compared to the snake demon, the sword demon moved decisively when it discovered Su Jingxing. The blackboard spun and the sharp blade sliced. Its huge body left the ground and rushed toward Su Jingxing. Without another word, Su Jingxing immediately turned around and fled. He traversed through the space at his fastest speed. The sword demon shuttled through space as well and chased after him. However, after leaving the true demon mountain, Su Jingxing suddenly descended and found an empty space on the ground. He stopped escaping. He prepared to open his palm space. The moment the sword demon descended from the sky from its pursuit. Whoosh! Swoosh! Two beams of light flashed. Buzz! The first ray of light landed on the ground, causing ripples in the air. As the ripples spread, they wrapped around the sword demon, forming a spherical barrier that enveloped it inside. Su Jingxing's main body left the moment the barrier was completed. Inside the barrier, the second streak of light suddenly lit up, shooting out electric arcs that flickered with light. Heaven Sealing Staff. Thunderbolt Sword. The heaven-sealing staff isolated space and formed its own small world, sealing off the universe. At this moment, the sword demon was trapped in a sealed space. The thunderbolt sword released the power of heavenly lightning and thunder to attack the sword demon. That's right, the sword demon's weakness was lightning and thunder. If struck by lightning, the sword demon would slowly turn into an iron plate. Although it wouldn't die, it would be sealed and fall into an eternal sleep. No one knew when it would wake up again. Otherwise, given the current strength of the heaven-sealing staff, it would not be able to trap the sword demon's destruction. With 2 strikes at most, it could tear apart the barrier from the inside. However, things were different with the help of the thunderbolt sword. Bolts of lightning struck the sword demon. The sword demon shrank immediately to resist the lightning and thunder. It would be good enough if ordinary lightning and thunder could last for dozens of seconds. The sword demon would be able to endure and survive these dozens of seconds. However, the thunderbolt sword was under Su Jingxing's control and fully charged. At this moment, it was releasing lightning with all its might. After nearly 10 minutes, it completely turned the sword demon into an iron plate and put it in eternal sleep. Ha, now I'm the boss of the little demon world. The third class of the essence opening realm, an ancient demon comparable to the primordial spirit realm. Now, of the 3 ancient demons, the bone demon had been killed, the snake demon's head and body had been separated and could not be reconstructed with the door of darkness between them. Although it was not dead, it could forget about recovering. And finally, the sword demon had fallen into a permanent state of hibernation. From now on, no one in the huge little demon world was a match for Su Jingxing. If that didn't make him the boss, what would? With this in mind, Su Jingxing happily put away the thunderbolt sword, the heaven-sealing staff, and the sword demon that had turned into an iron plate into his palm space. Although the sword demon was not dead, it could forget about reviving. However, as long as the snake demon and sword demon were not completely dead, he would not be able to remove the restriction on the periphery of the world tree branch at the top of the sky. Su Jingxing getting the world tree branch became empty talk. However, it didn't matter. Even if he did retrieve the world tree branch, he had no use for it for now. Opening a small world was not something that could be done casually. It was not a portable palm space. The opening of a small world could not do without the guidance of the main world. There was a huge connection between the two. Since he couldn't carry it on him, this small world would be a secret warehouse for Su Jingxing. Su Jingxing had no use for such a warehouse for the time being. Therefore, leaving the world tree branch in the little demon world would affect much. In any case, as long as the snake demon and sword demon were alive, no one would be able to obtain the world tree branch. In comparison, Su Jingxing preferred the demon soul fruit trees. He directly traversed through space and returned to the true demon mountain occupied by the bone demon. He found the 5 destroyed demon soul fruit trees and the 6th tree that had all its demon soul fruits plucked. Regardless of whether they were complete or broken with only roots, Su Jingxing put them all into his palm space. After that, he ignored the half-demons and demon slaves that were running all over the mountain and rushed to the 2nd true demon mountain. He also dug up the 6 demon soul fruit trees that belonged to the snake demon and put them into his palm space. Then, he rushed to the 3rd true demon mountain, the area occupied by the sword demon. Here, Su Jingxing encountered an obstacle. The 3 sword demon half-demon overlords were guarding under the demon soul fruit tree. After Su Jingxing arrived, they sensed him immediately and attacked without any warning. The 3 sword demon half-demon overlords turned into 3 killing machines and surrounded Su Jingxing, attacking crazily. Without another word, Su Jingxing unleashed all his strength at the 3rd classing of the essence opening realm. With the vast ocean spiritual essence, his figure flashed as he punched a sword demon half-demon overlord. In the end, the first sword demon half-demon overlord exploded on the spot, turning into pieces that scattered in the air. The blackboard in the middle of the 2nd sword demon half-demon overlord had a huge hole punched through it, and its attack momentum directly disintegrated. The third sword demon half-demon overlord seemed to be the strongest. Its blackboard was the hardest and did not shatter. It was only sent flying hundreds of meters into the mountain. He punches took care of the three sword demon half-demon overlords with 3 punches. Although he had only extracted a card from a sword demon half-demon overlord, Su Jingxing did not pursue them. These half-demon overlords would not die. He could slowly settle the scores later. However, the mysterious aura emitted by the demon soul fruit trees would not last forever. Another 9,000 years had to pass for the world tree branch at the top of the sky to stop trembling and the demon soul fruit trees to mature. Su Jingxing didn't have that much time to wait. Therefore, Su Jingxing ignored the half-demons and half-demon overlords as long as they did not hinder his movements. He also put the 6 demon soul fruit trees occupied by the sword demon into his palm space. Su Jingxing traversed through space and left the true demon mountain. He found a remote corner where the demonic energy was thin and there were no demonic creatures. He just had to take out all the demon soul fruit trees and dig holes to bury them. The damaged ones still had roots. Through the bone demon's memories, Su Jingxing guided the demonic energy to connect to the energy of the world tree branch at the top of the sky. Using the energy of the world tree branch, it rejuvenated the roots. In less than half an hour, new demon soul fruit trees grew from the roots. Although there were no more demon soul fruits, the mysterious aura was still being released. That was enough. Su Jingxing imitated the bone demon, snake demon, and sword demon and lined up the 18 demon soul fruit trees. The 3 trees in the center were arranged in a triangle. The 15 trees on the periphery formed a circular ring. Then, Su Jingxing sat cross-legged in the middle of the 3 trees in the center. Through the method found in the bone demon's memories, he absorbed the mysterious aura to strengthen his soul and produce soul power. The biggest function of this mysterious aura was to nurture soul power. This was much faster than consuming the Heaven Essence pill and the Sage Origin fruit. The mysterious aura was quickly born through the 18 demon soul fruit trees. Su Jingxing didn't have to think about anything else but absorbing it. Therefore, while Su Jingxing's essence soul guarded the void world, his soul power kept increasing through the strengthening of his main body. His 4th class void soul cultivation began to rise. 5th class of the void soul realm. 6th class of the void soul realm. When the 18 demon soul fruit trees stopped releasing their mysterious auras and the world tree branch at the top of the sky fell silent, Su Jingxing's essence soul cultivation had already reached the 9th class of the void soul realm. At the beginning, he advanced from the 4th class to the 9th class. Compared to the 9 demon soul fruits that allowed Su Jingxing to break the limits of his physical body, the might of the 18 demon soul fruit trees was equally powerful, so much so that it was reassuring. After this battle, Su Jingxing's physical body was on the path of spiritual martial arts, and his realm was in the 3rd class of the essence opening realm. On the other hand, the essence soul took the path of divine martial arts, and was in the 9th class of the void soul realm. The remaining blood doppelganger gathered its strength and kept attacking the snake demon's head. The snake demon would not die unless its head was shattered into pieces. The blood doppelganger could use the snake demon's head to test out its new transformation. The most important matter was settled. Su Jingxing rested for a moment, then stood up and circulated the 6 comets records to deduce the exact location of the half-demon overlords of the 3 kinds of demonic creatures, bone demon, snake demon, and sword demon. There were many half-demons, but there were limited half-demon overlords. In total, there were only about 50 half-demon overlords. Su Jingxing had to get rid of these 50 half-demon overlords no matter what. With the 3 ancient demons gone and all the half-demon overlords wiped out, the plan of the demonic creatures to invade the surface would end before it even began. The remaining half-demons were killed whenever he encountered them. Those who didn't meet him were lucky. As for the demon slaves, there were billions of them. Su Jingxing really didn't have the strength or time to annihilate them. Even if the demon slaves were killed, no function cards would be extracted. Therefore, he might as well let them live and keep them in the little demon world to slowly clear them out. Of course, it would be best if the armies of the various countries came in to exterminate them. The threat of demon slaves was limited, and they were the best subjects for training. Su Jingxing only needed to take care of the half-demon overlords. Hence, his physical body traversed through space. Under the guidance of the heavenly secret arts, Su Jingxing was spot on with finding every single one. With 300 years of spiritual essence cultivation, no half-demon overlord could withstand a punch from him. If the half-demon overlord wasn't dead, Su Jingxing wouldn't be able to feel at ease even if he used vast ocean to absorb the demonic energy. Under such circumstances, more than half of the half-demon overlords of the three types of demonic creatures, bone demon, snake demon, and sword demon, quickly died. The remaining half did not dare to stay in the little demon world after receiving the news. They ran towards their respective doors of darkness and headed for the human world through them. They couldn't stay in the little demon world anymore. There might be a chance of survival if they escaped to the human world. Of course, in the door of darkness controlled by the bone demon, the snake demon's body was writhing crazily, blocking most of the door. Seeing this from afar, the half-demon overlords decisively turned to the other doors of darkness. Furious Dragon River. At the border of the Zheng Nation and Wei Nation, downstream of the waters, beneath a mountain peak that was thousands of feet tall by the river, Luo Ao and the Wei Nation's martial sage were killing a group of demon slaves and half-demons that had come out from the door of darkness. All of a sudden, whoosh! Beams of light shot out. 6 figures passed through the door of darkness in a sorry state and revealed themselves. 4 of them were snake demon half-demon overlords, and 2 were sword demon half-demon overlords. Among the 6 half-demon overlords, the weakest was in the first class of the Void Soul realm. 6 of them appeared at once, and a terrifying aura erupted with a bang, causing Luo Ao and the Wei Nation's martial sage to retreat with grim expressions. What's going on? Why did so many powerful demonic creatures suddenly appear? Luo Ao growled, his face ashen. Now is not the time to worry about why they're out here. The Wei Nation's martial sage also shouted in a low voice, what's important now is how to destroy them. Brother Luo, have you contacted your master? There are more and more powerful demonic creatures, and the other demonic creatures seem to be endless. Without the help of Sword Sage Pei, we won't be able to guard this place at all. I'm already contacting him. Luo Ao gritted his teeth. When Master entered the dark area of the Void World, I've been contacting him through the kingdom defending Jade Seal. At this moment, Luo Ao had entered the demon's den with his physical body, not his essence soul. His essence soul was still in the Void World, and it was contacting Sword Sage Pei with the kingdom defending Jade Seal. Originally, according to normal circumstances, one would not enter the darkness of the Void World unless they had reached the Soul Platform realm. However, Sword Sage Pei, who was in the primordial spirit realm, did not know these secrets. Secondly, he was skilled and bold. Without building a soul platform, he barged into the dark area of the Void World and had yet to step out. No one knew where Sword Sage Pei had gone or where he was in the dark area of the Void World. No one knew where Sword Sage Pei's physical body was too. That was fine in usual times, but now that the demon's den was in chaos and demonic creatures were constantly coming through the door of darkness, Luo Ao and the Wei Nation's martial sage were already starting to struggle. They could not hold on anymore. Luo Ao and the Wei Nation's martial sage were not the only ones who were finding it increasingly taxing. North Sea. On an uninhabited island on the coastline of the Sioux Nation. The martial sage of the Sioux Nation invited the martial sage of the Snow Nation, Yuxiangtian, to the bottom of a mountain peak in the center of the island. More than 700 meters below the island, there was a spacious underground space. The third demon's den in the eastern continent was located in this underground space. After Su Jingxing exposed the secret, Yu Xiangtian and the martial sage of the Su nation immediately came to this third demon's den to check on the situation. Just like Luo Ao's side, there was no movement at first, but soon, demon slaves and half-demons rushed out of the demon's den. On Luo Ao's side, most of them were snake demons. On Yu Xiangtian's side, most of them were sword demons. Compared to the snake demons, the sword demon half-demons' attacks were stronger and more ferocious. Swish. 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 Hoo. 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 Strong wind swept and energy spread. In the huge underground space, after the sword demon half-demons appeared, the dome, the four walls of the den, and the ground beneath their feet were soon covered in deep marks. Yu Xiangtian and the martial sage of the Su nation could easily deal with them at the beginning, but later on, they had no choice but to join forces. After the sword demon half-demon overlords appeared. Boom! 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 The violent attacks and terrifying power, with just 3 charges, caused the martial sage of the Su nation's physical body to vomit blood repeatedly. He was sent flying and crashed into the cave wall, creating a huge pit. D***M. Yu Xiangtian was covered in ice and snow. This was a sign that he had circulated his martial arts to the limits. While raising powerful defense, he also carried terrifying lethality. However, against the siege of 5 sword demon half-demon overlords, Yu Xiangtian only lasted for less than 3 minutes before he began to retreat. Hang in there. The Su nation's martial sage, who had left the pit, gritted his teeth and shouted, "Old Tian, hang in there. I've already contacted the Liang and Kong nations. Old Li and the others are rushing over at their fastest speed. They won't be able to hold on for long either." As Yu Xiangtian flew backward, he growled, "There are too many powerful demonic creatures. We're not their match. We have to get someone in the primordial spirit realm to come here. Go contact Sword Sage Pei and the one overseas. If necessary, contact the Blade Sage of the Western Continent." "No." The martial sage of the Su nation blurted out. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed forward to attack a sword demon half-demon overlord. While taking on some of Yu Xiangtian's pressures, he quickly replied, "We can't contact the Western Continent. There are also demons' dens in the Western Continent. I reckon that they are also in a fierce battle over there. Most importantly, we can't let the barbarian gods in the boundless mountain range discover that we have been invaded by the demonic creatures. Otherwise, the barbarians won't just watch and let go of such a good opportunity to invade." Barbarian gods. That's right, there was also the threat in the boundless mountain range. At this thought, Yu Xiangtian's expression turned solemn and his eyes were filled with anxiety. The invasion of the demonic creatures was already drawing away their energy. If the barbarians in the boundless mountain range were to start a war now, one of the 2 fronts would collapse before long. At that time, who knew how many people would die? Contact the one overseas. We must get him to come and help us. Also, try to contact White Emperor City. The situation this time is critical. We can't sit still and wait for death. We have to contact all the transcendent grade experts we can contact and fight the danger together." Yu Xiangtian growled as he dodged the another attack. "Pooh! We're already in midst of doing that." The martial sage of the Su nation grunted, his face flushed red. Transcendent grade experts were not limited to the kingdom defending martial sages of the various countries. There were 7 or 8 independent transcendent grade martial artists like He Sanshao in the eastern continent, or even more. These people rarely appeared in the various countries. They were either on the subcontinent, overseas, or in the wilderness or the dark north. Yu Xiangtian and the other kingdom defending martial sages knew some of them and had heard of some others. At this moment, no matter where they were frantically contacting one another. Because behind the door of darkness, there were not only powerful demonic creatures but also ancient demons. The ancient demons were the biggest threat. Little did they know that Su Jingxing had already dealt with the biggest threat. In the little demon world, Su Jingxing chased after the half-demon overlords and killed most of them. He extracted 41 cards. The remaining dozen or so escaped into the underground of the demon's den in the eastern continent and were left alone. Given the strength of the martial sages of the various countries, it was not difficult to deal with these dozen or so half-demon overlords. Su Jingxing had informed them of the situation in advance. As the kingdom-defending martial sages, they would definitely go to the demon's den in their jurisdiction to check. Therefore, Su Jingxing was not worried about the threat at the 3 known demons' dens. Except for the 4th. Through the bone demon's memories, he saw that there were a total of 4 doors of darkness that connected the little demon world to the eastern continent. In other words, there were indeed 4 demons' dens as Su Jingxing had found out previously. This 4th demon's den was located in the southern wilderness. He Sanshao had previously approached Su Jingxing to explore the ancient ruins in the southern wilderness together. Su Jingxing declined politely. This time, Su Jingxing had to make the trip. 2 sword demon half-demon overlords and 3 snake demon half-demon overlords had escaped into the door of darkness of the 4th demon's den. If left alone, these half-demon overlords would definitely develop a new demon slave team. Since he had made a move, they had to be completely wiped out, not giving all the half-demons a chance. With this in mind, Su Jingxing's physical body walked into the door of darkness that connected the little demon world to the 4th demon's den. Initially, Su Jingxing was worried that he would be stopped by the door of darkness with him in the 3rd class of the essence opening realm. After all, a person in the primordial spirit realm could not pass through the door of darkness. The 3rd class of the essence soul realm was equivalent to the primordial spirit realm. When he took action, he realized that the door of darkness targeted transformation on the soul level. In other words, the ancient demon's breakthrough to the transcendent grade primordial spirit also targeted the soul. There were no restrictions on the physical body. Su Jingxing's body had undergone 3 transformations. When he passed through the door of darkness, there was only a resistance. Under his forceful push, this resistance did not affect him much. After passing through the door of darkness, his vision changed. What appeared before his eyes was a ruin at the bottom of the cliff. Rubble, dust, collapsed stone statues, broken walls. A little further away, there were steep cliffs on both sides. They wound upwards and were shrouded in mist at the top. Su Jingxing walked through the ruins and sensed his surroundings. He did not find the sword demon or the snake demon half-demon overlord. When he passed by the collapsed stone statues, he took a few more glances and realized that they were engraved with a species he had never seen before. Or rather, strange demonic creatures. In any case, there was no impression of such a demonic creature in the bone demon's memories. Su Jingxing memorized the appearance of the demonic creatures and sensed the direction of the fleeing snake demon and the sword demon half-demon overlords. Under the deduction of the heavenly secret arts, he discovered that the 3 types of half-demon overlords had actually separated. Half to the left, half to the right. Su Jingxing walked out of the ruins and came to the fork. After some thought, he crossed space and chased to the left. Swoosh! Swoosh! The sound of rushing wind disappeared in an instant. 3 rapidly moving figures appeared in his vision. The snake demon half-demon overlords. Who? 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 Circulating the vast ocean's spiritual essence, 3 fist imprints tore through the air and accurately struck their targets. Bang! 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 Out of the 3 snake demon half-demon overlords who were moving quickly, the heads of 2 of them exploded and while the other had its neck shattered. Those whose heads exploded died on the spot. Su Jingxing extracted 2 cards. However, the snake demon half-demon overlord whose neck was shattered did not die immediately. The head that was sent flying let out a strange sound in midair. Su Jingxing's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling. He decisively threw another punch and blew up the head. Card +1. Swish. A whirlwind rose from the ground. A strange aura suddenly emerged, twisted and lingered in the air. Swoosh. 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 Under the guidance of an invisible force, the blood that flowed out of the three snake demon half-demon overlords slowly gathered in the air. Boom. Su Jingxing, who had an ominous feeling, saw this and quickly threw a punch. The fist imprint that contained the vast ocean's spiritual essence charged towards the condensed fresh blood. With a thud, the mass of demon blood exploded. Worried, he used the vast ocean's spiritual essence as energy to sweep up and incinerate the exploded demon blood. However, just as he begun, the two broken stone statues not far away suddenly shook. The demonic blood that was wrapped up surged violently at the same time. These two processes occurred simultaneously. Su Jingxing was about to grab the demon blood and retreat. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two beams of black light suddenly shot out from the stone statue towards the demon blood. Su Jingxing's spiritual essence wrap was dissolved as soon as it came into contact with it. The black light and the demonic blood quickly fused, emitting a terrifying aura. Swish! 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 The aura became stronger and stronger. In less than 3 seconds, it produced scorching energy. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang, the black light and the demonic blood completely fused and expanded, turning into a strange demonic creature that resembled a stone statue. This demonic creature was more than 10 meters tall. Its upper body was similar to a human's, but it had 6 arms and 2 heads. On its head was a face that looked like an evil spirit, sinister and terrifying. The lower half of the body was covered with structures that were like octopus tentacles. There were dozens of them. At this moment, demonic energy surged around the body. A scorching aura continuously spread out and wrapped around the huge body. In the blink of an eye, it turned into surging flames that roasted the dark space at the bottom of the cliff. It was as red as blood. The terrifying temperature covered the ground, and the heated air distorted. Roar! Without a word, the strange demonic creature snarled and released a frightening force from its body. A fearsome aura blotted out the sky and covered the sun as it surged towards Su Jingxing. Su Jingxing did not dodge. Ha! A loud and excited roar suddenly came from Su Jingxing's widely opened mouth. Accompanied by a metallic buzz, Su Jingxing's body instantly disappeared from his original position. Like a moving mountain, he quickly passed through and stepped into the air, charging fiercely at the strange demonic creature in the lead like lightning. Boom! 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 The air exploded like a high-pressure cannonball. Su Jingxing activated his transcendent body. Golden red light covered his entire body. His pure physical strength was completely released, directly crushing the air. As he moved quickly, the space seemed to tremble uncontrollably. From time to time, a loud bang would sound. Roar! Seeing this, the strange demonic creatures snarled as well. Its majestic body that was like a mountain began moving behind. In an instant, Su Jingxing collided fiercely with the terrifying power and demonic energy released by the strange demonic creature. Immediately, violent physical strength, through his powerful physique, struck violently against the other party's demonic energy. Upon coming into contact, almost without any hesitation, the two energies clashed and exploded in the air. Boom! Boom! A thunderous explosion erupted at the right time. The violent force pulled out a large expanse of the sky in the air, leaving more than half empty. At the center of the two forces, a huge vacuum was instantly formed. At the same time, endless energy swept out. PLKCH. 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 Energy shot out like lightning, crashing into the mountain walls and causing large amounts of rubble to fall. At a certain moment, Su Jingxing suddenly exerted his strength. His spiritual essence wrapped around his fists, dissolving the demonic energy and breaking an arm of the strange demonic creature. However, in the next second, he was sent flying by the strange demonic creature's other arm. Swish! 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 A silvery black aura appeared on the surface of the strange demonic creature's body. It stirred the air and turned into a huge vortex. The surface of the vortex was covered in silvery white electric arcs. Crackling sounds filled the air. Under the pull of this strange force, the energies, baneful aura, and astral energy that filled the surroundings suddenly disappeared, as if they were instantly devoured by the vortex. However, such a frightening vortex did not last long. Less than half a minute had passed. Sheets of silvery white electric arcs suddenly began flowing rapidly. Immediately after, a vortex the size of a house expanded before it contracted. After this was repeated a few times, it suddenly exploded. Boom! A loud bang erupted in the air. The vortex turned into countless black streams of light that rushed towards Su Jingxing. The terrifying energy shockwave struck Su Jingxing, who had just come out of the pit in the wall, and he crashed into the pit again. Bang! 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 Explosions sounded non-stop, and countless rocks flew everywhere. If it were anyone else, they would either be dead or crippled. Su Jingxing, who had activated his transcendent body and undergone 3 transformations, was not injured. Only his clothes were torn into strips. The strength of this strange demonic creature was definitely comparable to ancient demons like the snake demon and the sword demon. Or even stronger. It was merely the blood of 3 snake demon half-demon overlords combined with the black light in the stone statue, yet it contained such fearsome power. Such an existence was probably already very famous in ancient times. A resurrected ancient demon? A thought struck Su Jingxing. It must be one of the ancient demons back then. The area where the 4th demon's den was located was clearly not simple either. At this moment, Su Jingxing was only at the bottom of the cliff. He had not gone up to take a look. Wait! Roar! The roar sounded again. The strange demonic creature attacked again. Its remaining thick arms swung in the air, and the demonic energy around it instantly condensed. Under the guidance of an invisible force, the stone statues scattered at the bottom of the cliff floated up and flew towards the strange demonic creature, sinking into the dense demonic energy that kept surging. When the demonic energy dissipated, a huge black and red stone slab that looked like a scabbard appeared. Almost at the same time as the black and red stone slab appeared, the air suddenly shook violently. Then, a thick ray of blood-red light suddenly bloomed in the air. Swoosh! The thick blood-colored pillar of light was like a huge sickle, splitting the sky at the bottom of the cliff into 2. An extremely dazzling glow shone brightly in the air. Everywhere it passed, everything avoided it. Only the rising black mist danced enchantingly in the air. What is this again? Su Jingxing's pupils constricted when he saw this. He was secretly shocked. A demon weapon? This resurrected ancient demon can forge weapons out of thin air. In less than 10 seconds, the strange demonic creature that had created the black and red stone slab had grabbed the lower part of the stone slab and completely released the violent demonic energy on its body. Its eyes turned red and bloodthirsty as he stared straight at Su Jingxing. His gaze was filled with killing intent, and its expression was even more sinister. The black and red stone slab was eye-catching from its appearance alone. The frightening pressure that seeped out unconsciously gradually turned the air turbid. The terrifying aura it released sliced through the air, producing strange sounds. Wave after wave of fearsome and strange evil energy erupted violently from the center of the stone slab. Under the impact of this surging energy, the air could not help but tremble, creating circles of seemingly corporeal evil shockwaves. What a powerful fluctuation! Su Jingxing was inwardly shocked. The aura of this black and red stone slab is definitely not inferior to a divine weapon. Su Jingxing's eyes revealed undisguised killing intent. That's right, the power released by this black and red stone slab was astonishing. But this did not mean that Su Jingxing was afraid of it. Putting aside the fact that it was only comparable to a divine weapon, even if it was a divine weapon, Su Jingxing would dare to fight it. Su Jingxing had yet to fully unleash the true might of the wandering dragon saber. Boom boom boom. Su Jingxing's killing intent rose. The strange demonic creature with the blood reservoir in its hand was also filled with killing intent. It stared at Su Jingxing with bloodthirsty eyes and swung its hand. Swish. A thick blood-colored pillar of light appeared in the air again. Accompanied by a sharp sound of air breaking, a three-headed demon dragon detached itself from the stone slab. At the same time, a cluster of strange flames emerged from the strange demonic creature's body. With a crisp sound, half of the flames separated and augmented the three-headed demon dragon. PLKCH. 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 The sound of air being sliced rang out non-stop. The three-headed demon dragon, wrapped in raging flames, tore through the air and headed straight for Su Jingxing. The strange demonic creature, wrapped in the remaining half of the flames, followed behind with the stone slab and locked onto Su Jingxing. One after another, two waves of attacks came at lightning speed. Su Jingxing could not retreat. The left and right side of his body were locked down by the terrifying aura. Immediately, 300 years of spiritual essence cultivation erupted. Vast ocean spiritual essence swept through his entire body and was channeled into his fists. He ruthlessly threw 100 steps raining fist at the three-headed demon dragon that was rushing over. Boom! 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 The stacked fist force instantly condensed into a huge fist imprint that exploded the air. Round after round, layer after layer. Pushed by the terrifying force, it collided head-on with the three-headed demon dragon. The next moment. Boom! There was an earth-shattering bang. A terrifying tremor spread in all directions and reverberated at the bottom of the cliff for a long time. Pelch! 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 Sparks flew. On the evolved three-headed demon dragon, there were strange flames that were too strong, entangled and torn apart by the shockwave and fist force. After fighting for about 3 seconds, the stacked fist force suddenly exploded in midair with the three-headed demon dragon like fireworks. Bang! The thunderous sound shook the surroundings. Brilliant light instantly scattered in the air and danced wildly in the sky. At the bottom of the cliff, it bloomed with its own unique charm. Buzz! The remaining shockwave swept up dust and dirt. First to bear the brunt. Su Jingxing was cleansed by the shockwave and took 5 steps back uncontrollably. However, in the next moment, he fully circulated his 5 transformations golden body and unleashed his strength in the 3rd class of the essence opening realm. With a low roar, he charged forward without any fear. Roar! The strange demonic creature roared when it saw this. Bang! 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 A series of explosions sounded in the air. Su Jingxing's figure was like lightning as he stepped into the air. His entire body was dazzling as he ignored the burning of the demonic flames. The wandering dragon saber shone and dissolved most of the evil aura. Just as he was about to collide with the demonic creature, he suddenly turned his body to avoid the stone slab and the wandering dragon saber slashed across the neck of the strange demonic creature. Bam! Bam! A dull sound spread in all directions. The head and neck of the strange demonic creature's head were separated. Its huge body continued forward with inertia, and the stone slab in its hand fell to the ground. Energy erupted in the air, and shockwaves wreaked havoc. Su Jingxing was pushed backward. However, the wandering dragon saber did not stop its attacks. It left his grip and flew on its own. It continued to slash at the strange demonic creature's head, causing it to explode. Card +1. Dead. The strange demonic creature died just because its head exploded? Since a card has been extracted, it means that the strange demonic creature had died. This can also be verified after the strange demonic creature's huge body fell to the ground and stopped breathing. But dying so easily doesn't quite match the identity of an ancient demon, does it? Even the snake demon half-demon overlords won't die immediately after their heads and bodies are separated. There's definitely something odd about the strange demonic creature dying so quickly. Su Jingxing stopped and pondered for a moment. He stood up and walked back, putting away the wandering dragon saber. The black and red stone slab did not move. This weapon was too evil. It was better not to take it. Time was limited, and Su Jingxing didn't have time to destroy it. After some thought, he dug a huge pit and buried the stone slab. Then, he turned around to chase after the sword demon half-demon overlords. What happened to the strange demonic creature was not important for now. With this delay, he did not know where the two sword demon half-demon overlords that had escaped had gone. As Su Jingxing traversed through space, he circulated the 6 comets records to deduce the locations of the two sword demon half-demon overlords. Soon, he left the bottom of the cliff and arrived on the surface. When he did, he then realized that it was a huge palace, but most of the areas had collapsed. All kinds of stone statues, carvings, and murals were scattered all over the ground. Occasionally, white bones could be seen in the ruins. Following the guidance of the heavenly secret arts, Su Jingxing flew past the ancient halls that had been reduced to ruins and arrived in a wilderness. At this point, he had finally experienced what the wilderness looked like. The sky above his head was extremely dim, like an endless gauze net covering the ground. The grayish-black clouds that were stacked together sometimes gathered together and sometimes dispersed. Under the dark sky, all kinds of monsters were formed. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, tearing through the air. Rustle. Rustle. A breeze blew, and strange rustling sounds came from all directions. A stifling, acerbic, and stimulating aura filled the air. As soon as Su Jingxing sensed it, he held his breath. His spiritual essence formed a protective barrier and adjusted itself. No wonder humans rarely stepped foot into the southern wilderness. Putting everything else aside, just the strange aura that filled the air made it impossible for martial artists below the middle ranks to persevere. Although this aura was not poisonous, it was especially stimulating to the human body. Without true energy protecting the body, one wouldn't be able to last long. As for the corresponding gas masks, they could be produced, but the price would definitely be extremely expensive. Similarly, they did not meet the conditions for mass promotion. Su Jingxing held his breath and followed his senses. He advanced thousands of meters on the dead and desolate wilderness. Suddenly, Su Jingxing stopped in his tracks and looked at a bare tree trunk not far away. On the trunk, a grayish-white humanoid monster that was more than 2 meters tall and 3 meters long was lying quietly. Its grayish-white skin was densely covered in fine scales, revealing wisps of dark light, making it impossible to see its exact appearance. Its 4 powerful limbs were muscular and filled with explosive power. Its claws that were as sharp as iron hooks seemed to be able to tear through everything. "Ha!" A suppressed growl came from his mouth. A pair of cold and bloodthirsty eyes stared fixedly at Su Jingxing across the air. What kind of humanoid monster is this? Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows. The aura released by this humanoid monster in Su Jingxing's field of vision was extremely powerful. It was actually comparable to a second-grade martial artist. Crack. A few crisp sounds of falling leaves shattering could be heard. The humanoid monster lying on the trunk suddenly got down nimbly from the tree and moved towards Su Jingxing. "Are you treating me as prey?" Without batting an eyelid, Su Jingxing slowly took out the wandering dragon saber. "Ha!" Unexpectedly, the humanoid monster did not attack immediately. Instead, it circled around Su Jingxing. The gaze in its bloodthirsty eyes was bright and cunning. The humanoid monster did not attack. Su Jingxing remained in a standoff with it, staring at it without blinking. All of a sudden. Ah-ooh! The humanoid monster suddenly snarled and pounced forward with its huge body. With its sharp claws in front and its mouth full of sharp teeth close behind, it rushed in front of Su Jingxing. Who? The stench of blood struck his face. Su Jingxing held his breath and merely stepped back slightly. However, the humanoid monster did not stop. Its sharp claws tore through the air and quickly pushed close with a buzzing sound. Its movements were as fast as a shadow as it arrived in front of Su Jingxing. Immediately, Su Jingxing dodged to the right, avoiding the sharp attacks of the humanoid monster. Then, he swung the wandering dragon saber. Swish! Saber energy tore through the air. With a thunderous force, as if it had eyes, it swiftly slashed at the face of the humanoid monster that was pouncing over. If this slash struck, even if the skin of the humanoid monster was tough, it would still be split into two. In the blink of an eye, the humanoid monster held back in midair. The moment it saw Su Jingxing's saber slashing down, it leaped back at an even faster speed than when it pounced over. It quickly retreated more than 10 meters, causing Su Jingxing's slash to miss. Tap tap tap. Its feet stomped on the ground, producing dull thuds. The humanoid monster growled, its bloodthirsty eyes fixed on Su Jingxing with hatred. Very fast, huh? Su Jingxing growled and decided to end the battle quickly. The reason why he stopped was because he wanted to kill this humanoid monster and see what cards he could extract. The cards extracted from different species and lifeforms with different abilities were rarely the same. Ha! The humanoid monster growled. Its blood-red eyes widened as it stared fixedly at Su Jingxing. Unwilling to leave just like that, it moved its limbs again and circled around Su Jingxing. It opened its bloody mouth and kept letting out irritable roars. You're even threatening me? Su Jingxing's eyes flickered. He was slightly surprised by the intelligence of the humanoid monster. At this moment, the humanoid monster that was circling around suddenly let out a furious roar and pounced at Su Jingxing at an even faster speed than before. Swoosh! Its speed was extremely fast. In an instant, it was in front of Su Jingxing. At this moment, Su Jingxing could even see the dense rows of fangs in the mouth of the humanoid monster, as well as the crazy, bloodthirsty, and cruel gaze in its eyes. In a flash, he slashed out ruthlessly with a backhand strike. Swoosh! Saber energy bloomed. Plkch. A burst of grayish-green blood splattered in the air. Roar! The humanoid monster let out a miserable roar. One of its arms was severed, and its body crashed to the ground with a bang. Die! Su Jingxing swung his saber again. Swoosh! A dazzling saber energy bloomed instantly, sweeping across with a powerful aura. Swish! 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 Saber energy tore through the air. The humanoid monster's blood-red eyes revealed jealousy and hatred, but it did not resist savagely. Its huge body rolled and leaped again, quickly dodging the saber energy's attack. However, the moment it dodged, its shoulder was still sliced by the saber energy, leaving a deep wound. This triggered the humanoid monster to snarl repeatedly. In its anger, it stomped on the ground and suddenly flew into the air. Strong wind swept. The humanoid monster swooped down from above. Swish! Like a hunting goshawk, it descended from the sky with a ferocious and domineering aura. Its remaining claw carried gusts of astral winds, determined to tear Su Jingxing into pieces. A sneak attack is useless against me. Su Jingxing chuckled when he saw this. He bent down and dodged the diving attack. Then, the wandering dragon saber in his hand suddenly turned around and stabbed into the abdomen of the humanoid monster from the side at an upward angle. Swish! Gray-green blood gushed out. Su Jingxing felt the force in his hand slow down slightly. Immediately after, the tip of the wandering dragon saber pierced through the humanoid monster's abdomen and came out from its back, ending all of the humanoid monster's hopes. Fresh blood sprayed into the air like spring water. Roar! Roar! The penetrated humanoid monster opened its mouth and let out a miserable howl. It used all its limbs and prepared to resist, but Su Jingxing didn't give it a chance. He exerted some force with the wandering dragon saber and twisted it again. Crack! 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 The sound of bones breaking could be heard. In a fraction of a second, the wandering dragon saber stirred the organs of the humanoid monster into a pile of mush. Pa thump! The struggling humanoid monster's body trembled. Finally, it hung limply on the wandering dragon saber. Its mouth opened and closed, and it roared weakly twice before its eyes gradually closed. Card +1. Bang! Su Jingxing raised his leg and kicked the dead humanoid monster to the side. He shook off the smelly blood on the wandering dragon saber and the blade vibrated again, returning to its original state. He took out 2 cards from his palm space. The last one was from the corpse of the humanoid monster. He got a life extension card. Compared to the life extension card Su Jingxing had obtained previously, it contained less vitality, but it was still good. Speaking of which, this humanoid monster's vitality was indeed very strong. As for the second card, he extracted it from the corpse of the resurrected ancient demon. He read the information, skill card. An explosive secret ability. It could release all the energy in his body instantly, and his might would increase by 10 times. All the energy included the vitality of a life. No wonder. Su Jingxing put away the card and understood why the resurrected ancient demon died so quickly after its head was blown up. It turned out that it had exhausted all its strength attacking Su Jingxing previously. To put it bluntly, such a secret ability was its final trump card. It was almost equivalent to perishing together with the enemy. With all energy exhausted in an instant, it would be difficult to escape with the remaining energy left. Su Jingxing shook his head as he figured everything out. Following the heavenly secret arts, he continued to chase after the sword demon half-demon overlords. This chase lasted for half a day. Under the dark sky, Su Jingxing entered a dense forest and discovered a group of people wrapped in a cold aura. They had no hair, and their faces, arms, and most of their skin were covered in silver-gray scales. They were gathered together and holding a certain ceremony. Su Jingxing took a closer look. These scaled people had set up an array formation that was similar to an altar. In the center of the array formation, 4 of the humanoid monsters that Su Jingxing had just killed were being roasted over a fire. The terrified cries of the humanoid monsters echoed through the sky. As for the targets that Su Jingxing was chasing, the 2 sword demon half-demon overlords, like the sword demon, had shrunk into 2 iron plates and were placed on both sides of the fire. In other words, like the sword demon half-demon overlords had also fallen into eternal sleep. Of course, they could also be completely dead. The sword demon could hibernate, but the sword demon half-demon overlords might not necessarily possess this ability. In comparison, Su Jingxing was more curious about what these scaled people were. What were they doing? At this moment. Swish! A cold killing intent suddenly descended from the sky and targeted Su Jingxing's brain. Su Jingxing tilted his head and quickly retreated to the right. However, the ambusher did not let him off just like that. It turned into a huge black shadow and continued to attack crazily with a cold and dead aura. Chi! 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 Clang! 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 A fierce wind tore through the air and headed straight for Su Jingxing. The terrifying force plowed deep ravines in the ground. Energy shot out everywhere like sharp arrows, throwing rocks and dust into the air. Humph! Faced with such an attack, Su Jingxing growled. Air-splitting palm. In an instant, the airflow in the air surged crazily. In just a few seconds, a huge translucent spiritual essence palm imprint emerged and collided fiercely with the huge black shadow. Bang! Bang! A dull explosion sounded. The spiritual essence palm imprint was blocked and turned into nothingness. The black shadow's attack was finally stopped and its true appearance was revealed. He was tall and had scales all over his face, neck, and palms. His valiant aura was bloodthirsty and sinister. This was also a scaled person. Su Jingxing adjusted his aura and stared at the scaled muscular man who had ambushed him. The other party seemed to be very interested as well. The corners of his lips curled up as he sized up Su Jingxing. At this moment, the group of scaled men who were holding the sacrificial ceremony were no longer busy. They quickly ran over and surrounded Su Jingxing. Who is this fellow? I don't know. He seems to be human. Human race. A human actually appeared here. Is he courting death? He, who knows what this fellow is thinking? An idiot who thinks he's a genius. TSK, humans dare to come to our camp. They really don't know what's good for them. In my opinion, the other party is definitely not just an ordinary passerby. The group of scaled men discussed animatedly in a strange language. They were very surprised by Su Jingxing's sudden appearance. Su Jingxing also understood their language. It was not the language of any human nation, but the language of a race from ancient times. Su Jingxing could understand it thanks to the Bone Demon. Through the Bone Demon's memories, he learned many secrets. Understanding the demon language and the foreign race's language were two of them. The Winged Ones. These scaled men were actually from the ancient race, the Winged Ones. They spoke in the language of the Winged Ones. However, the Winged Ones all had wings. Yet these people did not have wings. Why was that so? Su Jingxing was puzzled when he heard the Winged Ones shout. Kill him. Kill this human. With someone taking the lead, others immediately echoed. Yes, kill him. Eat his flesh. I heard that human flesh is delicious. Leader, kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Instantly, shouts and yells filled the air. All the members of the Wings race had sinister expressions on their faces. Their eyes were filled with bloodthirsty desire as they looked at Su Jingxing greedily, saliva dripping from the corners of their mouths. Shut up. A loud shout suddenly sounded, suppressing the shouts of all the Winged Ones present. It was their tall leader who had ambushed Su Jingxing. His cold eyes swept across the crowd. Under this gaze, all the members immediately shut up, not daring to make a sound. Seeing this, the tall leader turned his gaze to Su Jingxing and said in surprise. You are a human spiritual martial artist. Human language. The words spoken by the tall leader were actually the universal language of humans. Although he was very unnatural, like a foreigner speaking another country's language, it was indeed human language. Surprised, Su Jingxing replied with a question, You are the Winged Ones. You know that we are the Winged Ones. The tall leader was delighted, but he thought of something and quickly restrained himself. He asked again, Are you a human spiritual martial artist? So what if I am and so what if I'm not? Su Jingxing replied coolly. You are definitely a human spiritual martial artist. The tall leader's eyes flickered as he said in a deep voice, Human divine martial artists can't enter this place. There are very few human spiritual martial artists. I've only heard from my ancestors that human spiritual martial artists have powerful physical bodies and can be comparable to that of spirit race experts. The source of the name, spiritual martial arts, comes from the spirit race. There's such a thing. Su Jingxing was surprised. He could sense that the tall leader wasn't lying. There was nothing to lie about. In other words, the origin of a spiritual martial artist was really related to the spirit race. The spirit clan was another race that he had never come into contact with. At the very least, there was no such race on Earth-star's continents. This race probably came from another human world. So far, Su Jingxing finally understood that there were many worlds, or planets, where humans lived outside of Earth-star. For example, in the Black Flame Caves, the desolate world where he had a strange dream about was a planet where humans lived. The humans on Earth-star were just one member of the human race. Be it the winged ones or the demons, they were all from other worlds. However, unlike the extraterrestrial devil insect that descended directly from space, the winged ones and the demons had most likely come to Earth-star through the void world. And it was unknown how many more similar existences there were. Su Jingxing pondered inwardly, but his expression remained unchanged. That's right. I'm a spiritual martial artist. What do you mean when you said that divine martial artists can't come here? Literally what it means, said the tall leader in a deep voice. I'm Sha Lu, may I know your name? Huang Tianhua. Su Jingxing habitually used his new alias. So you're Huang Tianhua, said Sha Lu in a low voice. The attack earlier was just a precautionary measure to see if you were from an ancient site. Now I've cleared things up, you're a human spiritual martial artist. My apologies, I hope you can forgive me. It's fine. Since it's a misunderstanding, all is good now that we've cleared things up. Su Jingxing's lips twitched, but he had no intention of pursuing the matter. Although the sneak attack earlier was filled with killing intent at the beginning, there was indeed no killing intent later on. And Su Jingxing could sense that this leader of the winged ones called Sha Lu was also in the transcendent grade. As for whether he was inclined towards the physical body or the soul, Su Jingxing couldn't tell. He had only learned a little about this race through the bone demon's memories. However, their exact habits, characteristics, and path to becoming stronger were unknown. Now that Sha Lu did not show any malice, Su Jingxing did not want to gain another unknown enemy for no reason. Naturally, he wouldn't be so free as to insist on killing him. Everyone, stand down. Sha Lu waved his hand and asked the other winged ones to retreat. My friend, this way please. Sha Lu extended his hand and invited, this is not the place to talk. How about we go up the mountain? Sure. Su Jingxing nodded and followed behind. The two of them quickly left the altar and went up to a platform at the top of the mountain. I didn't expect a human to come here after more than 10,000 years. Sha Lu looked at the distant sky inside. My friend, you might be very puzzled as to why I asked that earlier, right? Without waiting for Su Jingxing's answer, he continued, because this is a sealed place. A sealed place? Su Jingxing was puzzled. Yes, the area that seals the heavenly demons. Sha Lu said in a low voice, more than 10,000 years ago, a heavenly demon descended into this world. Human experts fought for decades, and more than 100,000 people died before they killed the heavenly demon. However, the corpses of the heavenly demons cannot be destroyed, and over time, they can be revived. Therefore, through a secret method, we barely managed to split the heavenly demon's corpse into 3 pieces and seal them in 3 areas. This place is one of them. Su Jingxing didn't show any surprise on his face, but he was shocked inwardly. He didn't expect such a secret to exist. Heavenly demon. Heavenly demon ancient sites. Su Jingxing murmured. Yes, there is a ruin not far from here. That's where the broken heavenly demon corpse is sealed. Sha Lu pointed in the direction Su Jingxing had come from and said in a deep voice, the broken heavenly demon corpse has been buried underground for more than 10,000 years. It hasn't been damaged for such a long time. Under its influence, this area has been corroded and life has mutated. The reason why our race has become like this is because we were affected by it. It's been more than 10,000 years. No one has been able to leave this place. The area within 1,000 miles radius has become a land of peril. Back then, when the human experts sealed the broken heavenly demon corpse, they also sealed the entire region to prevent it from recovering too quickly. At first, we could still enter and exit this area, but later, due to the influence of the broken heavenly demon corpse, we were no longer able to do so. The reason why the winged ones are trapped here is because you people barged in without knowing? Su Jingxing was curious. Yes. Shalu replied calmly, when our ancestors heard that the aura of the broken heavenly demon corpse would give birth to a treasure medicine, they brought people over to guard it to make it convenient to retrieve the treasure medicine when it matured. In the end, they were trapped here and could not leave anymore. The clansmen who remained were then affected by the aura of the broken heavenly demon corpse and slowly mutated. In the end, their wings fell off and they became like this. Su Jingxing remained silent. It turned out that the winged ones had brought this upon themselves. Of course, luck was also key. They were unlucky to be trapped in this area. Within a radius of 1,000 miles, no one could leave or enter. And the broken corpse heavenly demon was actually sealed beside the demon's den. Across the fourth demon's den, a piece of broken heavenly demon corpse was actually sealed inside. Su Jingxing had gained a rough understanding of the heavenly demon through the bone demon's memories. This was the strongest among the demons, a born demon, a king who was comparable to the primordial spirit realm when it reached adulthood. If it cultivated it, it would only be stronger. The heavenly demon corpse could not be destroyed, and could only be split into 3 pieces. Most importantly, it would revive over time. If it were to come back alive, who on Earth Star could stop it? Compared to the bone demon, the sword demon, and the snake demon, the heavenly demon was the true threat. This was because no one knew what realm this fellow would be in after its resurrection. Su Jingxing felt fearful for no reason at the thought of a piece of the broken heavenly demon corpse lying beneath the ruins he had come from earlier on. That door of darkness had to be destroyed. Right, the door of darkness. Looking at the Sha Lu who was beside him, Su Jingxing recalled what he had said earlier and was suddenly jolted awake. This leader of the winged ones sure has a quick mind. What a good plan. They actually wanted to leave this D*Ned place through him. That's right, it had been more than 10,000 years. Entry and exit of this area was impossible, but Su Jingxing, a human spiritual martial artist, had appeared here. What did this mean? It meant that the winged ones could also leave this place. At this thought, Su Jingxing chuckled and said coolly, "Leader Sha, do you want to leave this place?" Su Jingxing couldn't be bothered to waste his breath and went straight to the point. Yes. Sha Lu retracted his gaze from the distance and his gaze landed on Su Jingxing. He said seriously, "Since you were able to come here, it means that there is a passageway that can connect to the outside world." In ancient times, the Winged Ones was an ally of the human race. Ally? Su Jingxing interrupted, "Are your allies meant to be killed and eaten? I haven't forgotten that your brothers shouted at me just now and were rallying to kill me to eat my flesh." Embarrassed, Sha Lu scratched his head and smiled wryly. "I'm sorry, they didn't mean to." "Didn't mean to?" Su Jingxing raised his eyebrows and caught the key point. "Yes, it wasn't intentional." Sha Lu sighed and explained, "My friend, you should have seen the 4 strange people on the fire in the center of the altar, right? Are they related to the Winged Ones?" Su Jingxing asked calmly. "It's not that they are related, but they were once our clansmen." Sha Lu took a deep breath and revealed a shocking truth. To be honest, as time passed, the influence of the broken heavenly demon corpse became more and more severe. Under the corrosion of the heavenly demon's aura, all life in this area has lost their sentience and become. "That's not right," interrupted Su Jingxing again. "On the way here, I just killed a humanoid monster like the kind you captured. It was very intelligent and kept fighting me, wanting to surround and hunt me. It has probably just completely mutated." Sha Lu gritted his teeth and said, "The newly mutated monsters still retain some sentience, but in at most 3 days, these sentience will dissipate and they will become demonic creatures with only devouring instincts. All right. Su Jingxing nodded and did not probe further. It turned out that the humanoid monster's true form was a winged one. Under the influence of the heavenly demon aura, it mutated into a monster without sentience. The aura of a heavenly demon is extremely terrifying. If we don't leave this place, in at most 10 years, everyone, including me, will completely mutate and become the kind of demonic creature you killed. Sha Lu said in a hoarse voice, this also means that the resurrection of the broken heavenly demon corpse is not far. Once the heavenly demon is revived, the entire area will become a demon territory. So, you want to use me to leave this place? Su Jingxing pondered and said, what benefits will I get from helping you and your people? Su Jingxing was not a saint. Earlier on, Sha Lu had ambushed him, and now that Sha Lu had spoken, he would help the winged ones lead through the door of darkness. How could it be that easy? Whether the winged ones were an ally of the humans in ancient times was to be confirmed. The key was what the winged ones had become now. As soon as Su Jingxing appeared, they wanted to kill him and eat his flesh. If he took them away to the outside world, wouldn't these fellows be killing people everywhere? Of course, there was a limited number of winged ones. Although Sha Lu was in the transcendent grade, humans had martial sages and primordial spirit realm experts like sword sages. If these winged ones were to really commit a crime, they would immediately be slaughtered. Su Jingxing mentioned conditions to find a reason for himself, or rather, a guarantee. Sha Lu was a smart person and quickly understood what Su Jingxing meant. Don't worry, my friend. After we leave, we will never offend the human race. Previously, my clansmen offended you because they have been corroded for a long time. Their rationality is gradually dissipating. As time passes, they will turn into monsters. You've already said all this, and I already know. There's no need to mention it again, Su Jingxing interrupted again. I just want to know, what benefits will I get from helping you guys leave this place? Or, let's fight again. You defeat me, imprison me, interrogate me, and get the way out from me? No, definitely not. Sha Lu laughed dryly and raised his hand to explain, Friend Huang Tianhua, you're thinking too much. I was just taking precautions and thought that the monsters had come to our camp. I definitely didn't mean anything else. As for imprisoning and interrogating, that's all the more sheer nonsense. Besides, I can't defeat you. The last part about being unable to defeat him was the most important. The human race's spiritual martial arts were powerful, and everyone knew about that. Although he had only heard his ancestors mention it, and this was the first time he was seeing it for himself, he was smart enough to make the right choice. It was not to make an enemy of, but to befriend them. Getting into a bad relationship was the stupidest way. That's right, they wanted to leave this place, but the outcome of them falling out with each other, whether good or bad, could not compare to befriending each other. If he won, he would have to capture and interrogate him. If Su Jingxing would rather die than submit and self-destruct, wouldn't the opportunity they had waited so long for be destroyed in the blink of an eye? If he lost, he'd be even more helpless. You've already made a move, and you still expect others to help you. What a joke. Therefore, the only way was to befriend him. As it turned out, Sha Lu's choice was right. The two of them chatted happily. Although Su Jingxing had listed a condition, that was better than rejecting him directly, right? At this thought, Sha Lu took a deep breath and said, we don't have anything good that we can give to you, but we can guarantee that we will never offend the human race. Without waiting for Su Jingxing to speak, he quickly continued, friend, let me finish. I know. Verbal promises won't work. Therefore, in order to reassure you, I will take the entire race and swear a soul oath. As long as we swear a soul oath, the winged ones will never be able to offend the human race. Even if you kill us, we cannot resist. This. Su Jingxing was a little surprised. Such a terrifying soul oath did exist. The winged ones were also very determined to get out. They were even throwing away all routes of retreat. If humans killed them, they would not resist. Of course, if they really wanted to leave, they could run. Escaping was not considered resisting. Given the speed of the winged ones, they would run to a certain land of peril and hide silently. No one would be able to find them. Other than that. Seeing that Su Jingxing was silent, Sha Lu continued, I can also swear an oath that the entire winged ones is willing to serve you for 100 years. Selling themselves as slaves. Su Jingxing was surprised to hear that. Then, he smiled and said, your plan is still as brilliant as ever. Puzzled, Sha Lu asked, what do you mean? Why don't I understand? You know very well what I mean. Su Jingxing smiled but did not expose him. Alright, I agree. But. Su Jingxing paused and said in a low voice, but, the condition has to be changed. I don't need all the winged ones to serve me. You alone will do. And it doesn't have to be 100 years. 30 years will do. How's that? Su Jingxing looked at Sha Lu with a smile. The latter's eyes flashed, and he nodded. Of course, no problem. Sha Lu greets my lord. With that, he knelt on one knee and bowed respectfully to Su Jingxing. Then, without another word, he began to swear an oath. An oath between a ruler and his subject made with the mind as the foundation and the soul as the guide. This was not an oath between master and servant. The latter allowed the master to decide the fate. An oath between a ruler and his subject gave the ruler the ability to apply many restrictions on them, but he did not have the right to kill at will. This was different from that with true emperors and ministers. In ancient times, the emperors could kill the ministers at will, and the ministers could also revolt and kill the emperors. With this oath, Su Jingxing could not kill Sha Lu, but he could punish him. However, Sha Lu could not deal with Su Jingxing. In other words, he could not betray him. This was better than being master and servant, but he was still restricted. As for not wanting the entire winged ones and only Sha Lu, it was because Su Jingxing had seen through Sha Lu's little schemes. The entire winged ones that Sha Lu mentioned was just the team that was trapped in this forbidden area and could not leave. They were not the real winged ones at all. He didn't know if the real winged ones existed on Earth Star, but they definitely did on other planets and worlds. What right did a transcendent grade like Sha Lu have to represent the entire winged ones? He was just playing with words. When the time came, not only would Su Jingxing not get the help of the winged ones, he would also anger those in other worlds and planets. And even if he was exposed, Sha Lu wouldn't admit to such little schemes. The other party's attitude was clear. He didn't even want his freedom anymore. What else do you want? Su Jingxing didn't expose him, but he wouldn't let him cause trouble either. He directly targeted Sha Lu himself. In this way, Sha Lu had no escape. The moment he made the oath, a line appeared in Su Jingxing's mind. A unique soul branch line that led to the outside. From this moment on, Sha Lu would be Su Jingxing's first subordinate. Other than not being able to kill him, he would be at Su Jingxing's mercy for the next 30 years. Of course, Su Jingxing wouldn't be so lame as to hit and scold a transcendent grade for no reason. As a winged one in the transcendent grade, without wings, his strength was greatly reduced. But if he could grow wings again, he would definitely be a great helper. Therefore, this deal was worth it. You guys roasted your former clansmen on a fire because you wanted to eat them? Now that his identity was established, Su Jingxing spoke casually. Of course not. Sha Lu smiled bitterly. They are of the same race, after all. Why would we eat them? The reason why we set them on fire was to see if we could turn them back. According to the messages left behind by our ancestors, the sword demon iron has the ability to stimulate sentience under the burning of flames. Coincidentally, 2 sword demon half-demons broke into our territory for some reason. I captured them and turned them into sword demon iron. Together with 4 of my former clansmen, we roasted them. I don't know if this method will work. At the very least, there's no good news yet. I see. Su Jingxing nodded. According to what you said, doesn't that make the sword demon iron a treasure material? Yes. Sha Lu said seriously, the sword demon iron is one of the best materials to forge divine and Tao weapons. The sword demon half-demons are a little lacking. I was referring to the true sword demon iron that is transformed from the sword demon. Tao weapon? Su Jingxing did not probe further. Instead, he caught the word Tao weapon and asked curiously, Tao weapons and divine weapons are not the same? Of course not. Sha Lu did not look down on him or mock him. He replied seriously, divine weapons are powerful weapons evolved from divine weapon seeds, and the divine weapon seed comes from the divine weapon world. The divine weapon world is extremely mysterious, and few people in the world know where it is. Once a divine weapon is forged, its power will be fixed, and there will be no difference in grade. Tao weapons are different. Apart from being naturally nurtured by the great Tao of the universe, they can also be produced through engraving with Tao marks on them using great divine arts. Tao weapons have grades, and there are traces of the great Tao on them. The more Tao marks there are, the higher the grade, and the stronger the power. To put it simply, the power of a divine weapon is fixed and cannot be advanced, but Tao weapons can continuously become stronger, right? Su Jingxing concluded. That's right. The might of a divine weapon is determined by the seed, but the might of a Tao weapon is determined by people. The deeper one's comprehension of the great Tao of the universe, the more marks one leaves on the Tao weapon, the stronger its might, Sha Lu explained. Swish. A glow bloomed. Su Jingxing took out the heaven-sealing staff and tossed it to Sha Lu. He said calmly, see if this is a Tao weapon. If so, what grade it is. Sha Lu hurriedly took it and held it in his hand. He carefully sensed it. A moment later, he nodded and said, this staff is indeed a Tao weapon. There are 2 marks of the great Tao on it, so it is a 2-mark weapon. A 2-mark Tao weapon. Su Jingxing nodded and took back the heaven-sealing staff from Sha Lu. There was no need for him to hide this from one of his own. Su Jingxing now knew that there were many types of spatial treasures. In fact, if it weren't for the fact that the Bone Demon's memories only contained the latter half, Su Jingxing wouldn't have needed to get this information from Sha Lu. Sword Demon Iron, Tao Weapons, Broken Heavenly Demon Corpse, Winged Ones, Divine Weapon World. There are too many unknowns and mysteries. Su Jingxing sighed inwardly, but his expression remained unchanged. He called out, there's nothing else. Let's go down the mountain. The sooner we complete the oath, the sooner we can leave this D*Ned place. Yes. Sha Lu responded respectfully.